courtyards is what are the features which I use in my buildings very often. All my projects, there will be a lot of courtyards coming here and there. I mean, this is for light, ventilation, and various, again, lot of the, I mean, some of the things which is learned from the traditional architecture. And roofs will be a very prominent structure in the kind of buildings because, again, sloping roofs are important. And I use timber roofs for most of my projects because timber is considered to be the most sustainable building material in the world now, because it can be recycled and it locks carbon as such. The roofs will be a very common thing, and verandas also use quite a bit in many of my projects. I try to use maximum, as I said, 90% of my buildings are constructed with timber roofs as such. Again, Dakshina Chitra, I mean, just showing the roof, and this is the restaurant building is what you see in the project. And in Dakshina Chitra, we are transplanted buildings also.
This is a resort project south of Goa, north of Kerala. It's in a 35-40 acres of land. The place has got 4,000 mm rain, and this rain comes in 4 months in a year. Just 4 months, all the 4,000 mm comes, and after that it is 8 months is full dry. So what we have tried to do is we have made a fairly large lake, artificially created a lake, which holds around 2.5 crores liters of water. Sufficient. We have done the consumption recharge profile that this whole resort becomes self-sufficient in water. We have done every drop of water that falls on the premises is collected in the lake, and every drop of wastewater is going into the gardens and vegetable gardens in that place, and so every drop of water is conserved that way. And while digging up this lake, we got a lot of laterite. It's a laterite country. So that laterite itself went into the building. So almost you can say 50 to 60% of the material was from the premises itself. It's not only local, it is from the very place that the resort got built.
Today there's, since cities are growing rapidly, most of our projects are really commercially oriented. There's not much scope that we have when to do buildings that we'd like to do, relating to the earth and relating to nature. But nevertheless, I think we need to be aware and we need to question continuously our responsibility as architects. What we've tried to use is as much natural material as possible, but in a slightly different way. Granite is abundant in Karnataka, and the idea was to kind of make use of it, but use it in a very different way from the typical size stone masonry that one is continuously seeing in Bangalore for the last probably 100 years, not 100 years, maybe 60 years. Well, what we've done is we've kind of worked with a very open plan, especially at the ground floor level. We have the whole area that is open at the lower level. We have a water body that extends right across, so it does give a cooling effect, not necessarily to the air around, but definitely to the well-being or the feeling as soon as you walk into the space. Most of these areas are used for discussion at the lower level, and all the studio level is at the upper level.
We've gone ahead and created our satellite towns or cities, if you like, Noida, Ghaziabad, Gurgaon. These are also cities, and then we have cities within cities. I mean, we have enclaves. I had the occasion to write a review on a book that was written for Gurgaon specifically, green recommendations for Gurgaon, or how Gurgaon could actually look at sustainable practices. But the book entirely excludes a discussion on what Gurgaon really is. I mean, Gurgaon is nothing more, for example, than a series of pieces of land which have been acquired by developers, inside of which utopia is created. So they're all enclaves. Big boundary walls, big gated colonies, all enclaves. Everything inside the enclave is utopia, beautiful. Everything outside is badlands, crime infested, accident prone, bad roads, no drainage. This heritage that we have of creating cities within cities within cities, enclaving ourselves, barricading ourselves behind more and more walls, this I feel is not sustainable. I mean, for a start, what it does is it relegates the entire population originally of Gurgaon to a second-rate citizenship. Anybody who lived there before in a village, anybody who lived there in a vernacular settlement, finds himself or herself relegated to a secondary status outside these gated enclaves in the badlands, without being able to avail of any great civic amenities, and deprived essentially also of dignity. I mean, in the long run, creating these divides, to me, is entirely against the idea of sustainability.